one, Mark. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you, Mark, for joining me. This is Mark Duncan, and he is an expert, a real whiz at marketing super yachts or yachts in general. So we're going to get on to that in a minute. But first of all, we've got to say hello, Mark.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm super good, and I hope you are too. Well, now you would have detected an accent in there, I bet, and that's no surprise. Mark has been down here for, I think, over 30 years. So, what brought you here, Mark?
Well, I suppose like many expats down here, I guess I didn't necessarily have the intention of moving down here at the time. I came down here because I left my work in London. Realized that wasn't for me, and my buddy who was already down here said, "Come on down, spend a couple of months here. We can chill out, work out what you want to do, and then you go back and do it." And 35 years later, I'm still here, Mike.
So, did you, in London, were you in yachting there?
No, I was a lawyer in London. I was one of those guys who, when I was younger, used to watch TV programs like LA Law and things like that. And I thought, wow, that looks great. I want to do that. And of course, you realize when you get into law, and I was in commercial law in London, that it wasn't quite like LA Law at all. Uh, and I absolutely grew to hate it. And and then I thought, okay, I've got to chuck this in, which was a bit of a hard decision. You can imagine the parents weren't too happy about that, but anyway, it's a funny story actually, Mike, because what actually made me chuck it in really and give me the courage to do that was I was mentored by one of the partners at the law firm, who I absolutely admired. I mean, he was a good-looking guy. He had a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, lots of money, homes across the world, all of that, which I liked. And then one day we were together somewhere, and I just happened to say to him, I suppose you're looking forward to your holiday, which he was just about to have in the Caribbean. And he said, Mark, to be honest with you, I hope it's really boring. And I thought that's a bit strange. Why would you hope your holiday in the Caribbean with your family is boring? And he said, because that way it'll seem like it's lasting longer. And at that point, I sort of thought, okay, if he's bored with his life and he's got all these things I think I want, and he's my mentor, I don't want to be there. So he's the one that actually inadvertently gave me the courage to do it.
Well, there's a huge difference then to being a lawyer in London and then finding you're selling yachts. How did that happen?
A circuitous route. So I came down here with my buddy. Now, my buddy was a guy that I met at university where I was doing law, and he was doing geography of all things. And but he and I had chosen the university we chose, which was the University of Sussex, because I had a student radio station, and we both loved radio. So we were doing these radio shows together, and then we did discos, as you called them back in the day. We did discos together and all of that. And he'd come down here before me and was starting a business up doing exactly that down here for the film festival and the Grand Prix and all of that sort of stuff. And he said, well, while you're here, you might as well do a bit of work. You can help me set this company up, which is a company called Riviera Organization. Still there today. He's still doing it. Fantastic. But he and I set that up. Cut a long story short, we ended up doing a lot of great weddings and film festival work and Grand Prix work. And that then led me into Riviera Radio, where I was a presenter, a producer, commercial director for about 10 or 12 years. And then a client of mine, who was, because we developed the yachting market in Riviera Radio. It was quite a big market. A lot of people listened to Riviera Radio who were working on the yachts or staying on the yachts.
Yeah.
And that was my introduction to yachting. And one of the clients, a company called Yachting Partners International, YPI, said to me, can you come and work for us? And I said to him, well, I know nothing about yachting. I mean, nada. And he said, that's probably an advantage. So he brought me in. I started doing marketing for YPI, and then it went from there.
Wow, that's amazing. Absolutely
Yeah,
amazing. That, I mean, that's just a series of coincidences, really. I mean, you're in there picturing.
yeah,
It.
yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, that's an
I mean, I
intriguing.
think it's a good example of like when you come down to somewhere like this, uh, a lot of what you do, where you go, your happiness, you'll know this, Mike, is about the connections you make, right?
Absolutely.
And where you end up going, providing you're flexible enough, where you end up going is about the people you meet and where they take you and the opportunities and where they take you. Like I would never have even known that yachting was a business or a thing if it wasn't for coming down here and then having clients from the yachting industry advertise on Riviera Radio and then working out what was going on, and I would never have known. So it's connections, right?
Right, absolutely connections. So let's get on to the next question. What do you regard as being a yacht? What are we talking about when, well, what do you think about when you sort of say a yacht?
That's a great question, Mike, and that's a question lots of people ask.
I can
You know
believe.
what? When does a yacht become a yacht, right? Technically, uh, technically, according to a lot of different associations and regulations, a yacht becomes a yacht when it's 24 meters or above, and normally when it has to be crewed. So if you've got a floating vessel that's less than 24 meters and you can run it yourself, you can be your own captain, do everything yourself. Technically, it's not a yacht.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. So when does it be go to being a ship?
So I'm not sure what the technical regulations are there, but typically a ship becomes it's a mixture of the size and the purpose.
Oh,
So a yacht would be a boat, a vessel that's above 24 meters, and there are some yachts today, as you probably know, that are
huge.
180 meters, 190 meters, which actually is the sort of the same size as a small ship. What keeps it a yacht, though, is the fact that it's been used for uh, private purposes. So, and it's owned by a private individual or their company, and it's enjoyed for leisure. Whereas a ship would typically be something that's being used for commercial purposes of some description.
Okay, so we put it into the luxury market, and we're talking about ultra wealthy individuals, aren't we here?
Yeah, ultra high net worth individuals, as they call them.
So now you've written a book on marketing or smart marketing, how to deal with yachts and yacht broking. Can you give us what drove you to write that book?
It didn't exist, and
Oh,
and one of the things that really surprised me, Mike, when I got brought into yachting to do marketing, was the fact that there was nothing that existed that I could go home and read or listen to teach me about how does this industry work, how is it all connected, and how do people do marketing in this gig. There was nothing. Um, so I had to spend about, I don't know. I mean, I was at that point, I worked for that company for about 10, 12 years or something. I had to just learn it as I went along. And then I realized that everybody else that was doing my job in the other yachting companies, they were having to learn as they went along. So whenever I eventually left that company, um, I had some gardening leave. And I thought, if I end up leaving yachting now, I may as well leave a book that's got everything I've ever learned and everything anybody's ever taught me in it, so that no unfortunate individual ever needs to come into yachting and go, "What? How does this work?"
is it that unique a sort of field of activity, or is it because it's niche that you have these? Is it exceptional to any other type of marketing, for instance?
That's another good question. I mean, in some ways, it's very similar, but in a lot of ways, it's very unique. When you're working with ultra high net worth individuals, generally, um, there's a lot of focus is placed on attention to detail, and that's in your marketing, in your sales, in any aspect of the service that you're providing. Attention to detail is the difference between winning a client or losing a client, or keeping a client or losing a client.
Mm.
And in the marketing, no, definitely no less so. But also, you need to understand when you go into yachting, what are you selling? Because you, for example, Mike, you may come into yachting and decide, I want to have a charter with my family, my friends. Uh, so what we're selling to you is a lifestyle and a luxury experience. Time away on a yacht with your family, friends, totally to yourself. Do what you want, have fun. We're selling you an experience. But if you were to come to me and say, Mark, I actually want to buy a yacht now because I'm sick of chartering, I want to have my own, then I'm selling you things like, well, what type of builder? You know, what's the brand of yacht you want to buy? What do you want to do with your yacht? These things are very, very, very specific. So you have to understand, what are you selling to clients at different points in their yachting journey? And that requires a certain amount of knowledge about the industry, the boats, the experience, the marketing, everything. So in that sense, it's really quite unique.
Oh, that's interesting. So when somebody comes in, I presume, do they come in your door, or do they somehow happen upon you? How, where do your customers come from? I think that's the question I'm going to ask.
So, I mean, obviously, when you're looking at a market that's yachts that are 24 meters and above, they come with a certain price tag attached to them, whether you're chartering those, like renting them for a holiday, or whether you're buying them. So they tend to be either high net worth individuals or ultra high net worth individuals. So these are people that have got between $5 and $30 million accessible wealth, right? So there are certain type of people, but they're all nationalities. Currently, at the moment, the one nationality that's leading and driving the luxury yacht industry is the American population. So
Oh,
American ultra high net individuals are account for about 40 or 50% of all the business that's done in luxury yachting today. They love their yachting, absolutely, and they spend a lot on it. But thereafter, you'll have Middle East, you'll have Europe. The UK's got a historically long relationship with luxury yachting and yachts, as you know. So, but they're everybody, and increasingly they're new money. You know, it's entrepreneurs, young people. It used to be that the average age of somebody who would buy or charter a yacht was over 55, 60, because normally you had to be around that long before you could get enough money to do it. And these days, of course, you've got entrepreneurs and YouTubers and influencers and celebrities. So the average age today has dropped right down on to about 45, 50, which is huge, you know.
so what influences a buying decision? Is it purely ego? Is it finance? Is it enjoyment? What do you think is the main driver, or is it just purely showing off?
Well, you've just touched upon probably the top four reasons that all buyers have. I mean, it depends on the people, you know. Some people are buying yachts because they genuinely want somewhere to go. And this is what happened after COVID, Mike, because COVID was one of the greatest boosters of luxury yachting in the history of luxury yachting.
Huh? How did that work?
Because uh, like all of us find ourselves trapped in our homes or somewhere. We couldn't see our family, couldn't see our friends. And so what happened was a lot of ultra high net individuals realized, you know, what's the point in having the money we've worked so hard to get if we can't see our family and friends, if we can't enjoy experiences and make memories, right? So they suddenly realized, you know, somebody once said, when you go to heaven, you have a shroud, but there's no pockets in shrouds. So, you know, all of them realized, you know, carpe diem. All of them realized, if we don't do it now, then when are we ever going to do it? So, more people than ever in the history of yachting were buying yachts for the first time or chartering yachts. So,
Ah.
but the motivations are being with your family, your friends, in a space that's your own, wherever you want to be. You know, getting back to nature is a big one. That's for a lot of people. It's very exciting. Bringing their kids up to get more connected with nature. That's a big one. Yes, of course, there are those who are like, I just want to show off. I want to show that I've made it. I asked one client why he was buying a yacht for the first time, and he said, because I can. So, okay. So the motivations are a mixture.
That's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So let's go back to your book. Can you tell me the title of your book, please?
Yeah, it's Smart Yacht Marketing 101.
And where is it available?
So you can get it on, well, anywhere. I mean, you can get it on Amazon or
Okay.
wherever you buy your hard copy or your ebooks or your Kindle books. And as you know, which is how you and I first got together, I just brought out the audiobook version of that. So that's available pretty much everywhere. And in about 4 or 5 days, it'll be available on Audible as well.
That's fantastic. I'll put some links up and deal with it like that. And how do people get in touch with you if they want to talk to you further about maybe buying a yacht?
Probably the best thing is to go to the website. So the website is smartyachtmarketing.com.
Right. I'll put that in the video anyway, so people can get hold of you. And well, I think our time is about up. I really, really appreciate that. What an insight into a fascinating business that I didn't know. Well, I know it exists, but the detail is something that escapes me completely. I'm going to actually read your book, and well, I'm going to listen to your audiobook rather. And well, it remains for me to say thank you so much, Mark. Thank you for spending the time with me.
It's been my pleasure, Mike, an absolute pleasure.
Right, let's keep our smiles going while I find the off button.